안녕하세요. 저는 고은아예요. 한국어 선생님이에요. 반갑습니다. You have finished studying Korean alphabet system and now you are about to start conversational lesson. Congratulations. And let me share screen to continue our study. This video lecture is for vocabularies of conversation 1 of lesson 1. Each lesson has 2 conversation and today is for conversation 1. And this is based on the Integrated Korean Beginning 1 third edition, the textbook, and full list of vocabulary is on the textbook, page 47. And I would recommend you to study using my Quizlet study set before you watch this video. So if you understand the vocabulary beforehand, it will be more interesting. And also, after watching this video, you are ready to study with the grammar video, grammar lesson, to understand the conversation 1 of lesson 1. So from next slide here, the new vocabulary will appear. Your job is read out with me, okay? 일, that is number 1, and 이, number 2, and 삼, number 3, and 사, number 4. 자, 1, 2, 3, 4. 자, first number 1 through 4 is introduced. On the textbook, you have number 0 to 10 that is introduced in the textbook, but enlist for conversation 1 and also lesson 1 conversations, you need to memorize and list these 4 numbers. And I want you to pay attention to the syllable structure of this 2. Okay. 자, first syllable 일 has the consonant, vowel, consonant. So we call this consonant ending syllable, and E is consonant vowel. So we call vowel ending syllable. So if you divide the Korean syllables into 2 big group, that is consonant ending or vowel ending. Okay, so 3 elements or 2 elements. Depends on this syllable structure, the pronunciation, it is affected by the syllable structure. And this consonant ending, vowel ending is the one of the major the grammar conjugation deciding the rule. So it is very important to understand that if syllable is a consonant ending or vowel ending. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So next vocabulary is 학년. But you don't read 학년. It's uncomfortable together. It's one word. So 학년, 학년. When you say 학년, it doesn't sound like hak, but it is hang, right? So sound, because nasal sound n makes the preceding consonant sound slightly change to easy sound. So 학년, 학년. And this is a typical Sino-Korean vocabulary. So each syllable has a meaning. So the behind there's a Chinese character based meaning. So 학 means school or study or to learn, and 년 means year. So school year, study year, academic year. Okay, and this vocabulary can be used with a number. So 1학년, 2학년, 3학년, 4학년, using the numbers we just learned in previous slide. So 1학년, 2학년. So 1학년, first school year, second school year, third school year, fourth school year. So it's first grade, second grade, you can use like that. And if we applied for high school or college students, you may understand as freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. So in Korean vocabulary, we don't have separate vocabulary like freshman, sophomore, but this 1학년, 2학년 is used over and over for elementary school, middle school, and high school, and college. Okay, and pay attention to the pronunciation once again. So 학년, this is spelling, but sounds like 학년, 학년. So this is 1학년, 2학년, 3학년, 4학년. But the h weakening is very common. So if Korean people speak more casually, it sounds like 1학년. Okay, so then it can be confusing with the 2학년, 이. So don't judge by the first syllable. Okay, so read if there's a r sound, then it is a freshman. So 1학년, 2학년, and 3학년 also casually 3학년, 3학년, 4학년. Okay, 3학년, 4학년. So it can be challenging to distinguish. Next, vocabulary is 과. 과 means lesson or chapter. And this vocabulary can be used with number 2. So 1과, so lesson 1. Okay, 2과, lesson 2. 3과 and 4과 goes on and on. Okay. And next is 대학생. 대학생, 학생. 자, 학생 means student, and 대학생 is college student. 대학생. 대 has meaning big, and 학 means to learn or school, and 생 means born. So born to learn. So 학생 is one of the oldest vocabulary that defines human nature. So humans are learner, right? That way we are different from other animals. So 학생 as a learner, and nowadays mostly used for students in school system. So 학생 and 대학생, the big student. So it is college student. Okay, next vocabulary is 미국. 미국 is America, and 한국, 한국, Korea. So you may guess that 국 has maybe meaning nation or country. Okay, so 한국 is 한 means Korea, and 국 is nation. So Korea as a nation we call 한국, and 미국. So Chinese character behind it. This is a typical Sino-Korean vocabulary. So 미 is we use now as a beautiful and good country, beautiful country. But in old times, the 미, another meaning of Chinese character, another character also pronounced 미 is the rice. So rice country. That means in old time, Asia is a rice farming culture generally, Korea and also China. So in the past, in the old times, the rice means wealth. Okay, wealth, rich. So people have lots of rice stored in their house. That's a rich people. So the rich nation, or now they are beautiful nation. Okay. And if we add 사람 and make a compound noun, 미국 사람, then country name plus 사람, then it is the nationality. So 미국 사람, then American person or American people. So Korean people don't really care about the singular or plural. So it can be defined in the context. So it can mean single person or multiple people, 미국 사람. And 한국 사람, 한국 사람, Korean person or Korean people. So next vocabulary, 인사. 인사. So you understand the Korean people has a special way of greet each other, especially polite setting. They bow each other. And 인사 is the vocabulary greetings. This is not an expression. 인사 is greetings, but actual the expressions 안녕하세요 or 반갑습니다, those things are expressions of greetings. Next vocabulary, 저. 저 is a first person pronoun, so it can be used for I as a subject. If it is an object, still 저. So the vocabulary doesn't change, but we will add a particle to define this is a subject or object, but 저 remain. Okay, so it's different from English. English, the vocabulary change, but it can be subject or object. And 저 is a humble version. When you are speaking in polite setting, or if you are making yourself humble toward the older people, 저 is appropriate. And if you don't have to be humble, then you can use 나. Okay, so if you are talking to your friend, you can use 나. Okay, referring yourself as 나, but humbly 저. Next vocabulary is 안녕하다. So you pay attention to the color. So 안녕하 is the meaning part. It's I call stem. We call stem of the vocabulary. And if vocabulary looks this way, so 다 is a universal ending for any verb or adjective. The verb, adjective, they conjugate. They change form. That means so for example, English word go becomes sometimes goes, went, or have gone, like that. So they change form. Those are the verb and adjectives, and has a base form or dictionary form. So dictionary form, Korean dictionary form of any given verb or adjective, that is 다. So 다 is a meaningless tail that will go away. And so this one is dictionary form. And when we actually speak and politely, honorific polite style, so when people greet each other, we say not 안녕하다, but 안녕하세요, right? 안녕하세요. It's speaking in honorific polite way. So 안녕하세요. So 다 goes away, and you add another based on the style. It's honorific polite ending, 세요, and 다 is dictionary ending. The meaning is to be well, to be well. So it is translated as hi or hello or how are you, but actual the vocabulary meaning is to be well. So are you well? Asking. Yeah. So but our sentence 안녕하세요 doesn't have you, but it's one word, so can express the 안녕하세요. Okay, and also this expression is used any time of the day. So there's no morning or evening meaning in this expression. So you can use this anytime. The next vocabulary is 이다, 이다. Also 다 ending. So 다 goes away. And this one is a special kind of adjective, to be. Okay, so describing. So to be, so copula. And this one is considered the conjugating vocabulary, and this one is a dictionary form 이다. And if you are politely speaking, the 다 goes away and 에요 is attached. So 이에요, 이에요, and sometimes you will say 예요. Okay, 자 이에요 full form, and 이에 contracted. So 이에 becomes 예. So you combine 이에 then 예. Okay. Then when you use 이에요 or 예요 depends on the syllable structure. Okay. The meaning is to be, and so the to be. So meaning is in English equivalent is is for singular, and the plural yeah are. So this is to be. Okay. In actual translation, you will see this is equivalent to Korean vocabulary 이에요. And if it goes with 이다, to be doesn't have actual meaning in the sentence alone until it has the noun going together. So 학생 means student. So 학생이에요. So someone is a student. So I am a student, or he is, she is a student. So we can say in the context, we will understand if it is I or she or right you, like, so that will be understandable. So 학생이에요. So syllable structure, this one is consonant, vowel, consonant. Consonant ending, you use 이에요. And next, 친구. 친구 is a friend. Friend. So it's a yeah, new vocabulary. But 친구, so there's a 그 plus 우. So it is a vowel ending syllable. Then sound, 친구이에요. Sounds too many vowels going all yeah, after side by side. So instead of 친구이에요, 친구예요 sounds more compact. So if you have a vowel ending syllable, noun is the coming before that, then you supposed to make a contraction. So 예요, 친구예요. Okay, so it's all based on the syllable structure. Okay, last syllable determine that. And next vocabulary we are adding is actually particle. Particle is something that you are not familiar with. So particle is not independent vocabulary, but that is attached to a noun and define the function of the noun in the sentence. And this 은 or 는 is called topic particle, and you can translate as for something or as for someone. And this particle is attached to a noun, and then noun becomes topic of the sentence. So topic of the sentence is the something that you are talking about in the given sentence. So if you are talking about your friend Michael, so 마이클, 클, consonant ending, you will add 은, 마이클은. Sounds better this way because consonant ending, then you want to have the particle that begin with zero consonant. Zero consonant, no consonant sound. So sounds yeah, naturally carry over. So 마이클은, 마이클은. So if you try to this one, 마이클은, it's uncomfortable. So 마이클은 sounds better. And if the noun has a vowel ending, so vowel ending noun, then 는, consonant beginning, particle choice sounds better. Instead of 저은, 저는, okay, 저는. So no problem speaking with the consonant, initial consonant sound if there's no consonant in the noun, okay? So 저는. So it's all up to the consonant ending, vowel ending, okay? And next particle we are adding is 도. 도 is also, too. So this one we call inclusive particle, inclusive 도. And compare with 도, 은는 is as for someone, okay, as for Michael, as for me. So it is used, the topic particle is used when you exclusively talking about the noun, so making it topic, okay? So as for Michael, but 도 is 자, 마이클도 or 저도 can be used. 자, in a sentence, you can say, 자, 마이클 is a student. 마이클은 학생이에요. 마이클은 학생이에요. And then so your first sentence, first statement is 마이클은 학생이에요. And you want to say I am also a student. Then 저도 학생이에요. You can say so, including you. So 저도 학생이에요. If you start with 저는, so 저는 학생이에요. So I am a student. And then second person, the next person, Michael also student. So 마이클도 학생이에요. So Michael is a third person. So 마이클도 학생이에요. You can say, okay? So it's for, as for me, I am a student, and Michael also student. So 은는 for topic, and 도 is when you include something in a similar context, you can use the 도. Okay, so this is all for vocabulary of conversation one of lesson one. Okay, and I want you to study with this Quizlet website. Okay, so don't forget to study with this website before and after the video lecture. So you can do a lot of activities using this, and also you can listen to the audio. Okay, so play as whatever way you want. So you try everything here, and your memorization work will be much easier with that. Okay, so that's all for today, and thank you for watching. 감사합니다. 안녕히 계세요.